2024 is finally over. 2025 is here. Happy New Year. This video should post on the first of the year 2025. And here today, I felt it was a great time to do my very first year in review video, where I'm going to talk about some highs, some lows, both on my YouTube channel and off my YouTube channel for 2024 for me. Here in this video today, and hopefully this will be an annual thing I do every year for as long as I have this YouTube channel. So sit back and watch as I talk about just some various things that have gone on, not only in my life but also here on my YouTube channel for the year of 2024. So stay tuned. To kind of get into the meat and potatoes of the video here today, this is going to be a review video. I want to talk about different things that went on, not only on my channel, but kind of in my life in 2024. Some of the highs, some of the lows, and some of the stuff in between, I guess. So, starting with that, 2024 was a really important year for me in terms of the YouTube channel because, well, I started the YouTube channel. Officially, if you look at my page, which I'll throw a screenshot in here, my channel was created on October 18th, 2023, which coincidentally happens to be my birthday. I made a video about that and a little post about that back in October. But I took a few months to actually build up the courage to actually film content and actually put stuff out here for you guys out in the YouTube world to actually kind of look at. It took me a while to come up with that. So really, to me, 2024 is my first year on YouTube, even though I created the channel in 2023. So that is the first major thing about 2024, is that I created this channel. Speaking of that, I posted over 100 videos to my channel here in 2024, which that includes a handful of shorts that I did, like 4 or 5 shorts, and then the rest were all just normal content, if you will. And that's quite a bit. I did that kind of in batches. Kind of early on, I was kind of sparse, and then I got to a point kind of in the spring and early summer where it was like boom, boom, boom. I was throwing a lot of content out there routinely. And then into the late summer and the fall, and now here towards the end of the year, it slowed down a little bit for a number of different reasons I've touched on before and that I'll kind of talk about towards the end of this video. But I got over 100 videos out on my channel. And going along with that, I had over 140,000 views on my channel, which in the grand scheme of YouTube, when you factor in all the really big channels, that's probably not a whole lot. You know, there's certain videos on big channels that probably get 100, 140, 150,000 views in like the first week of a video being posted, or sometimes even, you know, a shorter time period than that. But for a smaller YouTube channel like myself, 140,000 views is quite an accomplishment, and actually something I didn't think would ever happen. Going along with that, I had over 2,000 subscribers in 2024. And that is really amazing to me and extremely humbling, to the point that sometimes I don't even think I realize myself how much of an accomplishment that really is. Because there's a lot of channels that struggle to get a couple hundred subscribers, you know, 500 subscribers, maybe even 1,000 subscribers. They really struggle to get to those milestones in like 2 and 3 and 4 years on the platform. So for me to go in 1 calendar year to get 2,000 subscribers, that's actually quite the accomplishment. And sometimes I don't even realize how much of an accomplishment that is. And honestly, that's because of all of you out there watching this video right now. Whether you subscribe to my channel, whether you just are a casual viewer that's, you know, viewed my content sporadically, or maybe this is your first time viewing any of my videos. Really, all of you guys are the reason my channel has done as well as it has here in 2024. Without you, this channel would not be what it is. And I've said this before, it probably sounds like a broken record, but I really don't know what this channel would be like if I didn't have the level of support that I had from all of you guys out there in YouTube land. I really feel like this channel may not even have survived to this point, because I would have maybe just done a couple videos, gotten a couple views, and then just decided, not worth it. I can say I tried it and whatever. But I got such a positive response, and I've talked to so many people, whether it's in comments or just through other chats and videos and stuff, that it's really pushed me to keep doing stuff on this channel, and realizing that there is a like-minded bunch of people out there in the YouTube space, and that there's a kind of this corner for my type of channel to exist. And so I just want to say thank you to everyone, because it's truly humbling, and I don't really know how to express my gratitude to all of you guys out there, because without you, this channel wouldn't be what it is. And I just hope that I can continue to make content that you guys like and appreciate, and keep the channel going and growing as it is. And so, speaking of that, to just pivot slightly away from that kind of sappiness, I ended up being able to monetize my channel in my first year on YouTube. And while I'm not rolling in YouTube money, I mean, this is nowhere near a full-time, job by any stretch of the imagination. Not to get into all the details, but I do make about $30, $40, sometimes $50 maybe a month, give or take, here on YouTube, which, like I said, is definitely nowhere near the big channels. This is not a full-time job for me. I still have my full-time job that I do, but it is nice as just kind of a perk to have that happen on the side. And really, that's not the goal of this channel. I have no aspirations to be a full-time YouTuber, to live off of YouTube or anything like that, but it's nice to see a couple dollars come in for that sort of stuff. And a side note with that, before I get off of all the subscriber based stuff and monetization and whatever, the most recent projector that I have here in my home theater, I basically paid for with YouTube money. And so that's a fun little perk of this kind of niche that I'm in here on YouTube, is to kind of put together the money I earn from YouTube revenue, even as small as it is. I can kind of put that together and buy a couple things in the future here on my channel, and in my home theater. So that is just something I wanted to throw out there. I was able to monetize my channel in its first year. I don't make a whole ton of money on it, but I was able to do that. Now, I do also want to make a small, shameless self-promotion thing here with that. And just to say, if you do like the content I produce, whether it's this video here, whether it's something else on my channel, definitely consider liking and subscribing, all that YouTube stuff. Leave a comment down below if you like what I've done, over this past year, because it definitely helps encourage me to keep going and, keep the content flowing, and hopefully we can grow the channel even more, in 2025. I just wanted to throw that in here kind of quickly, on air, but yeah, let's move on to some more stuff. Enough pandering about subscribing to my channel. Now, to talk about my YouTube videos, like I said, I posted over 100 videos and got over 140,000 views on my channel. And with that, I wanted to just list very briefly my top 3 performing videos I had this year, which, when I look back on them, are kind of surprising for what I do. Number 1, really by a pretty good margin, is my very first Why I Own It video, which was my Jurassic Park DTS DVD video. And even today, that video is still my top video. It has over 16,000 views. And that's really weird, because I would not have picked that video out of everything I've done this year to think that that would be my top performing video. But then right behind that, at 13,000 views, is my Record Exchange video. When I went over the summer to Record Exchange and toured the facilities there, I got to talk to Gene and Jenna, which are really nice people. And that video is in second place for the year, right behind my Jurassic Park DTS video with 13,000 views. And those two kind of stand alone. They're the only videos over 10,000 views on my channel. And then coming in third, slightly below all those, is my Alien DVD video about the 1979 Alien film on the original 20th anniversary DVD with just over 9,000 views. And those kind of stand atop my 3 videos, for everything I've done this year. So that's definitely interesting. And, thanks to everyone out there who watched those videos. Because again, some channels that have been on YouTube for longer than me struggle to even get to, like 10,000 views on a video. And so to have two of my videos exceed 10,000 views and one of them just push right up against 10,000, that's actually, you know, quite an accomplishment, and that's all because of you guys out there. I would have thought the home theater equipment videos would have somehow landed in my top 3. It may not have been one of my #1 videos, but I figured my top 3 would have included at least one home theater equipment video that I posted throughout the year. But that wasn't the case. And despite that, I have to say 2024 was pretty significant for me because I basically switched up majority of my home theater equipment throughout the year. Now, topping that list, for me at least, is the fact that I was able to get an endgame item here in my home theater in those JBL Pro speakers that are at the rear of my setup. You know, I found them for a dirt cheap deal, in my opinion, for what they are. And I got those here mainly because of this channel. If I didn't have this channel and you guys, I may not have actually pulled the trigger to buy them. But I am extremely happy that I did, because those speakers, in my opinion, are some of the best just overall surround sound speakers you can get to replicate actual cinema level quality in your home theater. And to me, those speakers are going to stay in my home theater as long as I have a home theater. I have no plans to get rid of them. If they break, I'll either repair them or buy a replacement, because now that I've had them here, I don't really want to change. But those are not the only things. My Angstrom audio speakers that are in my front stage, my Infinity Beta Center channel, I found that this year as well. My most recent Blu-ray player, I haven't even done a video on, but I found that recently, you know, about a month or two ago here, which video will come on that in 2025. My processor from Emotiva. I've never had a standalone processor, but I found that here in 2024. So really just a lot of my home theater equipment got changed up in 2024. And a lot of that was due to the channel, because I wanted to make content and I wanted to just kind of show the channel that you can find these deals and you can find some good quality in, you know, used home theater items. And not to just focus on the audio side of things, on the video side of things, I rotated out several projectors. The only one that's really stayed consistent is my Knoll LED. But I basically brought in, much to my wife's, you know, chagrin, I guess, I brought in like 4 different other projectors in here, you know, and I found some really good, insane deals, in my opinion, on some projectors. Granted, I have kind of my specific kind of projectors that I like. I have the style of projector I like with my kind of like high-end DLPs. But I found a whole bunch of those and really got to experience a lot of different like flavors of those high-end DLPs. For example, my planar projector, I mean, I got that for $8. My Marantz projector I got for like 150 bucks. I mean, I found some really good deals on projectors in 2024. Now, granted, they're not going to be long-term projectors here in my home theater. In fact, the planar was basically just purchased to make content. I don't use it because the throw ratio doesn't fit. And even my Marantz projector, I used it for a little bit, but ultimately after getting the Christie and keeping my Knoll LED, I found that while the Marantz was a really good deal, didn't really fit what I wanted here in my home theater. So it's kind of been moved out and I'm looking to sell it. But overall, I got to experience a lot of different high-end DLP projectors in 2024. Honestly, that's the biggest thing for my home theater outside of the audio, was being able to play around and experience all those projectors. And a lot of that is because of this channel. So I have to say thank you again to everyone out there for allowing me kind of the courage to go and buy those projectors and film content and kind of put it out there for you guys. Now, if I'm going to talk about equipment, I don't want to just focus in on home theater equipment by itself, because there is some other equipment that I was able to kind of learn to use, and I'm still learning to use and kind of like adapt to and with into the future. But I really got my first big exposure to it in 2024. And that is all the equipment I use to film these videos. Now, I started off my very first handful of videos, or maybe even more than that, I shot on my old iPhone, which I still have lying around here, that I use as my everyday phone. I used that thing for my first handful of videos. The quality wasn't the greatest. I didn't really know how to light things. I didn't really know what I was doing. But then I got to upgrade. I bought a Samsung, just cheap, $50 used phone that I used for quite a while. But also, you may have noticed recently in the last handful of videos, 5 or 6, whatever it may be, that the image quality has looked kind of different, and maybe, some things kind of had changed up a little bit. And that's because I recently, in the last few months, bought a Canon DSLR camera, an older Canon. It's a Canon Rebel T3i camera that I bought off of eBay. And much in the same vein with my home theater equipment, I found a channel here on YouTube, which I'll either link him up here or I'll link him down below. The channel's gone through a couple different names. I think right now it's at Travis Shore is the name of the channel, but it used to be T3i Guy. But I stumbled across his channel back a few months ago and really got kind of enamored with his stuff, because he was more in the vein of how I do my secondhand home theater channel here, but in like photography and videography with videos and like DSLR cameras and GoPros and stuff like that, where he really focused in on buying older cameras and being able to get really good quality video and picture quality out of it, even today, in modern times for YouTube or whatever. And so he really put like a little bug in my head, like I need another one, to go out and find an old DSLR camera. And that's how I came across this Rebel T3i. And so I've been using that recently for some of my videos. And I've switched out some lenses. I have the standard kind of stock lens that comes with it. I've got a smaller pancake lens that I've been using intermittently. And then this one I'm currently using is a lens we actually found for my wife's Canon camera several years ago at a thrift store, which I found really a bargain on it. We paid like $10 for this lens. It's an actual 35mm lens that probably goes for $500 to $1,000 online. So we got that for like 10 or 15 bucks, like, I don't know, 3-4 years ago at a thrift store. And my wife was just using it to take like family portraits and stuff. And I decided to use it on this camera, and that's currently what I'm using in this video here today. Not only did I get to upgrade and experience new home theater equipment, I started to learn how to use DSLR cameras, as I'm doing right now and still learning, and learning how to use video settings on like iPhones and on my Samsung phone that I have, and just play around with lighting and ISO and shutter kind of settings, and trying to set up my shots so that things look, presentable to you guys. And that's, if you saw my resolutions video that I put out a little while ago, I am also looking to upgrade stuff with that and get better with stuff like that, and shooting more B-roll and trying to like be more informative with the shots I use on things, and I'm still learning. But so it wasn't just home theater equipment. I also got to experience and kind of learn with camera phones and this DSLR I'm using. So that was another big thing for me in 2024 that I honestly would never have ventured into if I didn't have this channel. So that's another just cool thing that happened to me in this past year. Now, I don't want to just focus in on my channel and just on equipment and like what I'm using to film these videos or anything. I want to talk about some other kind of home theater or just movie related stuff that happened in 2024. 2024 was also a big year for me in terms of going to the movie theater. Not only did I get to see some films I really liked, for example, I started the year off watching Dune Part 2 in the theater, which I really enjoyed. And we ended the year with me and my wife watching the most recent film that we've seen at the theater, which is Wicked, which we've actually seen twice, that I've actually really enjoyed. I didn't think I would like it, but I actually enjoyed it. And those kind of bookended the year, but we saw multiple things at the movies, throughout the year. But for me, the two big ones, and it would come as no surprise to anyone, the two big ones for me were getting to see Alien Romulus in the theater and getting to see the original Alien. Granted, it's in its 4K kind of remaster form, but I got to see the original Alien in a theater for the first time in my life, and maybe for one of the only times in my life, depending how often they potentially may re-release it again. So those were two huge moments, in cinemas for me this year as well. And now I made some content on some of those here on my channel. Some of them I haven't, but I was able to go and experience quite a range of films and of, kind of just experiences at actual movie theaters. Which, going along with that, I also want to take a little sidestep from there and say that this year was the year we actually discovered the Alamo Drafthouse, which for us, the closest one's in St. Louis, Missouri. I didn't know what the Alamo really was up until this year. I had always thought that it was more of like a restaurant, bar kind of place. I didn't realize it was an actual movie theater that served food and drinks. And so when we found out about that, we went for the very first time to see Alien Romulus, like I said a minute ago. And then we actually went to go see Wicked to kind of close out the end of the year. And we saw both those films in the big show, and I was just blown away by the picture quality, the audio quality, the ambiance, just everything about it. The little like pre-movie kind of stuff that they play that's kind of tailored to every film. It's just really cool. And yes, it's expensive, I guess, especially in comparison to my like small town theater we go to. We'll never really stop going to our local cinema because we like supporting small businesses, family-owned stuff, you know, it's here in our small town. But if there's a movie like an Alien Romulus, like a Wicked, you know, something like that where we want to go and see it in the best kind of theater and conditions possible for where we live, the Alamo Drafthouse is going to be the place we go. They earned a customer, you know, with us, you know, this year. So that's another big thing for me in 2024 was not only having a fun time watching movies at the movie theater, we discovered the Alamo Drafthouse. And, you know, so I'm extremely thankful for that this year. Now, I don't want to just say that I only watch films at the movie theater, because that wouldn't be true. I watched a fair bit of content here at home. Now, again, if you saw my New Year's resolution video, one of the New Year's resolutions I've had kind of running every year for the last like 3-4 years has been to watch more catalog content, you know, stuff that's older than like, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you know, stuff that's, you know, 5 years plus older. And especially like cult classic and classic films, you know, that I own here in my physical media collection. And I always fail miserably at that. I may watch 1 or 2 of those kind of films throughout the year, or a handful at most, but I've never really fully gotten into that like I've wanted to. But that's not to say I haven't watched stuff at home. I've watched a couple classic films, like The French Connection. I got to watch that this year on DVD. I got to see cult classics like The Blob from 1985. I watched that on a 4K Steelbook that I bought. I watched Return of the Living Dead on a DVD that I had for the first time. I had never seen that movie and was pleasantly surprised. But of course, to go along with what I just talked about a second ago about going to see these films in the theater, I got to watch Alien Romulus most recently. I got this for Christmas, and the original Alien on 4K here in my home theater in 2024. That kind of encapsulates my kind of home theater viewing. I got to watch a handful of classic kind of catalog titles, some other stuff in between. You know, there's too much here to kind of list, you know, because I don't want to just spend time trying to rattle everything off. I got to watch a fair amount of content. Is it as much as I want to for my New Year's resolution? Probably not. But I did get to see a fair amount of content here in my home theater. So it was big for that reason as well. Now, I also bought a whole ton of used media this year, to the point where it was starting to just get out of control here. And so I ended up going through several, I don't know what you would call them, purges of physical media. And just selling stuff, trading stuff in, you know, whatever. I got to a point this year where I was going to thrift stores, and I would come home with 10 to 15 to 20 movies at a time. And I just don't have the space for that, and I don't have the time to watch that many. So I realized I needed to like clean out my collection and really just kind of pare it down to stuff I want to keep. Because I don't have the space to just hoard movies for the sake of doing that. If I had more space, you know, if I had like an entire wall of space that I could just do that, you know, with, you know, I could just store thousands of movies, maybe I would do it. But that happened this year as well. I bought a ton of physical media, and I've had to pare that down over the months and try and like really restrain myself and be kind of very direct about what I want to buy. But it was a big year for that as well. And I don't want to drag that on too long, but I got to experience a fair amount of classic content and more modern content here in my home theater, as well as seeing stuff in the theaters. So, you know, that's a big plus for me here in 2024. Now, on a more personal note, before I end this video, I do want to say that 2024 was not all just like sunshine and rainbows, for me. There were a few rough patches throughout the year. Not only did I get pretty sick a couple times throughout the year, as a lot of like family and friends that I knew, did throughout the year as well. I also had that small period of time where I gave myself a concussion at work, so I had some rough patches there. But I also had some, loss in my family. Very early on in the beginning of the year in 2024, really before I had established much traction on this channel, I lost not only an aunt of mine, but I also lost my grandmother on my father's side. That happened like within a week of each other. And that happened very early on in the channel, like I said, really before I was established here, even to the extent I am now. So that did happen, although as a side note, I was able to take my dad to go see my grandmother. She was living in Texas at that time before she passed. We got to take a road trip and drive down there and see my grandmother for the last time, right there at the end. And she was actually in really good spirits and was actually very lucid and like very talkative and seemed very much like the grandmother I grew up with, at the time. But we got to take that road trip and spend, like 16 hours in the car together each way, and just me and my dad talking about all kinds of stuff, talking about my channel a little bit, talking about movies, talking about sports, talking about memories of my grandmother, my grandfather, just a lot of different things. So that was really nice, to do that. But I did experience some loss there. I lost my aunt, like I said, I lost my grandmother early on. And not to downplay that sort of stuff, because that stuff is important in my life. The big one ultimately for me, as well as like my wife, because it was much closer to us here, because we lived with him every day, was the passing of Winston, our dog, this year. That was really tough on us, and still is, even to this day. And ultimately we'll probably never fully like get over that, and that honestly played a big factor in me kind of getting kind of more sporadic with my video making for a good period in the late summer into the fall, as he started to really like start to struggle with his health and kind of get towards that end point, But ultimately, this channel here provided a nice creative outlet for me to just, be able to do stuff to get my mind off of what was going on, and then all the positive support, well wishes, everything that everyone kind of gave me in my family, my wife and the dog, when that happened, was actually so cool and like really unexpected, for me. But so, like I said, 2024 had a lot of positives for me, both with my channel and just, fun things that I got to do. But there was, a few like downsides to some of that stuff, of things that went on, as it is with everybody. You're never going to be able to have, like perfect stuff across the board. There's always going to be something that comes up. But I did have that sort of thing happen here, but I don't want to dwell on that because, like I said, there's so much more positive stuff that went on in 2024 that while, it hurts and it sucks that I lost some family and I lost my dog, at the end of the day, things are still, pretty good for me, going into 2025. Before I end this video, I am going to talk about the future of the channel, because I got to meet a lot of people here on YouTube, either just through comments that I've kind of just interacted, with a lot of people. I try and interact with a lot of my, viewers and people who leave comments. I try to interact as much as I can with those. But I also got to interact with other channels here on YouTube and made like what I consider like YouTube friendships. I mean, obviously I don't know any of them personally, but I mentioned most of those channels in my previous video about channels to watch in 2025, so definitely check that out. And really, that's just kind of what I'm looking to do in 2025. I just want to continue to grow the channel. One of my goals is to get to 3,000 subscribers next year. Anything over that is just like icing on the cake for me. I want to continue to produce content. I really want to like continue to kind of hit on the videos that people want to watch. I may throw stuff in here that I just want to experiment with, and just see if it gains traction. And sometimes there are videos I just want to do, and, if they don't really go anywhere, then whatever. I just wanted to get the video out there on it. But I definitely want to do that. I also want to trying to experiment, like I said, with some new stuff, short form, some longer form stuff. I have a few more ideas for like out of home theater videos that I want to hit on. And ultimately, you know, to end this video and wrap everything up, put a nice little bow on it, 2024 was really good for me in terms of this channel and just in life in general. Yes, I had a few losses here and there, but ultimately at the end of the day, I feel like there was much more positive in 2024 for me than there was negative. And I guess that's all you can really ask for at the end of the day. And so hopefully 2025, not only for me, but for all of you out there watching, is going to be the same. Hopefully there's, you know, some positivity and more positives than negatives for you guys in your future next year, or this year, I should say, as there is hopefully for mine and with this channel and in my life personally. So with that, here's to 2025. Here's to my second year on YouTube. Here's to everyone out there. Happy New Year. And hopefully we can grow this channel together, you know, to see you guys comment and keep everything going on my channel like you've done in 2024. And with that, I'm going to say I will see you the next time in the next video right here on Secondhand Home Theater. Happy New Year, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.